Hey, this is Kit Cabela of Harlan's Media, and we are finishing up a recent protest that happened here in Chicago. I'm joined here with one of the speakers that you saw on our Facebook live stream. Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers and subscribers?
Yes, my name is Maya Arcilla. I'm part of Anakbayan Chicago.
All right. Now, during the Facebook live stream, you mentioned that the current Philippine government is right now enacting harsh policies on an island within the Philippine country. What exactly is that island location, and when did these harsh policies begin to be enforced?
So a little over a month ago, Duterte, the president of the Philippines, declared martial law over the entire island of Mindanao. And so what that means basically is military rule. That means checkpoints. That means bombings in the city of Marawi. And so what actually happened is that there was a terrorist attack from a small terrorist group called the Mote. And because of that terrorist attack, Duterte declared martial law on all of the Philippines, began doing illegal arrests of human rights activists, began bombing the city of Marawi even while civilians were still occupying that city. And even to this day, there are still hundreds of people that have been displaced from their city, hundreds of people who have lost their homes, hundreds of people who are still trapped in the rubble, and hundreds of people who have been killed.
What's the current situation in regards to the infrastructure? Is there clean water or fresh resources being given to the people, or are they being starved out due to the martial law policy?
So really, a lot of people are still in refugee camps and are suffering harsh consequences. Little water, very little food that is offered to the people who have been evacuated. Even now, the Duterte administration is threatening to bomb indigenous schools in the Philippines that are in Mindanao because he calls these schools rebel schools because they're teaching them their rights, they're teaching them about agriculture, and they're teaching them to protect their land.
What other territories or I guess provinces within the Philippines are also being targeted by this current administration?
So it's a real possibility that Duterte will declare martial law over the entire Philippines. And if you look at our history of martial law and what that looks like, that means that he could potentially, he's taken away the writ of habeas corpus in Mindanao, which means that there's no right to trial. They can arrest you immediately on any false claims that they have against you. And so what that means is that people who are actually advocating for human rights in the Philippines are being targeted by the government, are being illegally arrested, and even threatened and tortured in jail.
And what has been the general response from the United Nations? Has there been any response in regards to what's being enforced upon the people in the Philippines?
The United Nations response hasn't fully encapsulated the true issues of the Filipino people. There has been some responses in terms of the extrajudicial killings in the drug war, which we are happy about. But we definitely need to see more, especially coming from the Filipino people themselves, really fighting for the basic issues that people are facing, which is really homelessness, poverty, the lack of social structures that are there for the Filipino people. For instance, in Mindanao, the island that is currently being placed under martial law, there are only 1 out of 10 indigenous children are able to go to school. The 9 out of 10 are unable to go to school because they have to cross mountains to get there or cross rivers, and it takes them like 2 hours to go to school. And so you can see that social structures are not really there. Social services are not really there for Filipino children especially.
Now, with the militarization of the government, has there been any calls for new elections or a vote of no confidence with the current head of state for the Philippines?
So recently we had the State of the Nation address, which we have every year with our presidents, right? And what happened was there was a huge protest that is called the People's State of the Nation. And so the people stated their claims that they want an end to martial law. They want to see that the human rights abuses, the extrajudicial killings stop, and they want the peace process between the current government of the Philippines and the National Democratic Front of the Philippines to continue. Because on the table for that peace process are things like social services, are things like human rights, are women's rights, indigenous people's rights, land reform, genuine land reform, and national industrialization. And these are really some of the issues of the majority of the Filipino people, and so we want to see the peace process continue.
Now, getting back to what we covered on our Facebook live stream, which our viewers can check out for themselves, you're standing in solidarity with Palestine, and you spoke very passionately about why you're standing with Palestine, what's happening to the people there. Can you explain to our viewers and subscribers why this is an important issue to you?
Yes, this is a hugely important issue to me and to really all of the Filipino people because Palestinians, what they're facing based off of the Israeli occupation of their homeland and the bombings that have gone on in Gaza, they're facing a very similar struggle to what we face in the Philippines. And we see our struggles as intimately connected, and we also see that our resistance should be intimately connected. The fact that so many people's that the mosques in Palestine have been occupied is one reason that we also see the need for religious freedom in Palestine, in the same way that we see the need for religious freedom in the Philippines, because Marawi, the city that is being bombed currently, is a predominantly Muslim and indigenous city. And so our struggles we see are really intimately connected, and so we stand in solidarity with Palestine.
All right, and final question. In regards to your organization, where can our viewers and subscribers find you guys on social media and your respective website as well?
Yes, you can find us on Facebook at Anakbayan Chicago. It's spelled ANAKBAYAN, Chicago. We mostly post Facebook Live videos like you do, I imagine, so definitely check it out. You can definitely reach out to any one of us personally, and we'd love to tell you more about our organization.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining Heartlands Media. Everyone, peace.